Boy, the Lomachenko fans is finna be mad tonight. Let's go ahead and talk about that. Ooh, lordy. Podcast. Subscribe. What up, YouTube? It's me, Josh, from the Average Josh Podcast, coming back at you again with another video. And today, let's talk about this Vasyl Lomachenko versus Devin Haney undisputed match today. Now, if you're a Lomachenko fan, I know you're upset. I know you've got to be upset right now. Lomachenko, he had a good showing of himself. The fight was very close, and if you thought that he had won the fight, I can't put that past you, because being someone who I like Devin Haney, I was hoping Devin Haney won this fight. And then my prediction, I predicted that Devin Haney would have won by a split or majority decision, but I did not see him winning by a unanimous decision. And personally, I would have to rewatch the fight again to really make sure, but just in my heart of hearts, when the scores were fitting to be announced, I thought Lomachenko was gonna win. Now, on my scorecard right here, I had Devin Haney winning the first round, I had him losing the second, I had him winning the third, the fourth, the fifth, the sixth, the seventh, the eighth round. I had it a 10-10, I had it a tie. And then the ninth, then I had Lomachenko winning the 9th, the 10th, 11th, and I had the 12th as kind of a swing round, you know. So I was very nervous, because I could definitely see seeing that Devin Haney is basically out of his contract with Top Rank. I could have definitely seen the judges giving more favor to Lomachenko. But, you know, that just seems to how the cookie crumbled. And, like, I really don't blame any of the Lomachenko fans for being upset right now. As a Devin Haney fan, I'm kind of indifferent towards it, you know, because, like I said, I had him winning a lot of the first rounds of the fight. But in those later rounds, he was clearly losing. Like, he was clearly losing, especially that 10th and 11th round. But, you know, boxing isn't essentially scored by the fight's totality. Is basically scored round to round, and I did feel that he could have possibly gotten enough rounds to win that fight. So it's not like a huge terrible decision like the Rolly Romero versus Barrasos that took place earlier this month. But if I gotta be honest, my heart of hearts, if I was scoring the fight, well, just the way that I felt, I probably would have. I really did think that Lomachenko was going to win that fight. I definitely thought that they were going to give him more rounds. Now, going forward, I think that it's time for Devin Haney to move up, because honestly, after that performance, I do not see a way that he's going to beat Shakur Stevenson. Because I know you Lomachenko fans may not want to admit it, but to me personally, I believe that Shakur Stevenson is a better fighter than Devin Haney and a better fighter than Lomachenko. Also, Shakur Stevenson is a southpaw, so if he were to fight either of them, that advantage that Lomachenko has of being a southpaw, a lot of that will be negated. And also, you know, you see how Lomachenko was able to score with his left hand on Devin Haney quite a bit, and he was able to score with the double, triple right jab as well. I think that Shakur Stevenson is actually better than at doing that than Lomachenko. Even though I would give Lomachenko the advantage in finding the angles, I do think Shakur Stevenson has better defense, and he's not gonna sit there and allow Devin Haney to tag him over and over and over and over again to the body like Devin Haney was doing with Vasyl Lomachenko. So altogether, man, it was just a very interesting fight. It was very high level. I was literally on the edge of my seat the whole time, just watching it. It was going back and forth. Like, Lomachenko would get a good left hook, then Devin Haney will get a good straight right to the body. Or Lomachenko would throw a triple jab, get in on the inside, and start tagging Devin Haney. And then Devin Haney would basically come back with a left to the head and a right to the body, and then a couple of body shots. And then Lomachenko would be on the outside of Devin Haney's jab. He'd work his way in, and then Devin Haney would tie him up. They'd reset, and then Devin Haney would start again throwing straight rights to the bodies, hooks to the body. So it was just a very interesting fight. From the copy box scores, it did seem that Lomachenko did land more. But like I said, I would not have been upset if people had scored that fight for Lomachenko, because like I said, even though I was scoring the fight and I had it very close, and let's see, who did I have winning? So I had, okay, so I just counted it up and I literally had it 116, 115 Devin Haney. But like you said, I may be a little biased because I'm a Devin Haney fan, but I thought the fight was very close. But I just think that the rounds that, especially at the end, that Lomachenko won were just much more dominant than the rounds that Devin Haney won in the beginning of the round. And that's where there was like that huge discrepancy, and I know that a lot of people are going to say that Lomachenko was robbed. But like I said, I had it a close fight. It could have gone either way for me. But I do think that there's just kind of that kind of bias towards the later rounds, where people just see someone coming on strong in the later rounds and they're like, yeah, that person who came on strong in the later rounds won the fight. That's just not how boxing is scored. Now, with that being said, I know for 100% for a fact that Devin Haney's not about to rematch Lomachenko, but I would absolutely love to see that fight again. Like I said, it was a very entertaining fight. Devin Haney was constantly going to the body. Lomachenko was getting in there on the inside, being very aggressive. Like in my prediction, I thought that he was going to start off slow for at least the first 3 to 4 rounds, but he didn't. He came out there guns blazing from the very get-go, and I think that aggression is what caused Devin Haney to be able to tag him to the body so much more. And the whole fight, as a Devin Haney fan, I was very nervous because I knew Lomo was going to come out strong. Even though Devin Haney was putting in a lot of body work, Lomachenko always, whether it be when he was fighting Jermaine Ortiz or whether it be when he was fighting Teofimo Lopez, and those guys hit very hard, much harder than Devin Haney, and they were tagging him to the body as well, Lomachenko was still able to come on strong. So I knew that the second win was going to come. I knew that he was downloading more and more of Devin Haney's tendencies. I knew that he's very comfortable at 135 pounds, so he had a very good stamina, and also he's just a very tough fighter. To take all those body shots and then to still be able to just come on and bring it on strong like that at the end, that is admirable, and I think that he's a great and incredible fighter. So like I said, if you want to say that he's won, I'm not going to argue with you on that. Honestly, I felt like my scorecard, I have it that Haney won by a round, but my heart of hearts, I felt like in the emotion, I felt that Lomachenko won. So I don't blame anyone for saying that, you know, Lomachenko won. But also when it comes to Devin Haney, I don't see Devin Haney beating Shakur Stevenson, if I'm being honest. Shakur Stevenson has great defense, and he also has power in both hands, which that's something that Haney lacks. And I think that was really the difference in this fight. If Devin Haney had more power, like let's say that he had the power of a Jermaine Ortiz or a Jorge Linares or a Teofimo Lopez, or not even Teofimo Lopez. Let's say that he had the power of like a Nakatani, you know, someone who has power, but like Vasyl, Teofimo Lopez at that weight had a crap ton of power. But let's say he had that power. I think he could have pretty much washed Lomachenko if he had more power, but because he doesn't, and he's not naturally a strong puncher, people say he has pillow fists. That seemed to be the difference in the fight, because he was not able to keep Lomachenko off of him. And also being weight drained like that and coming in looking like a skeleton, even after he rehydrated, he didn't look that big. Lomachenko was able to manhandle him in the clinch as well, and that's something that I thought that Devin Haney would have the advantage in. But it was Lomachenko who seemed to be kind of like even, or even have the slight edge in the clinch. There was times where he had thrown Devin Haney down. There were times where Devin Haney had one hand tied up, but Lomachenko, and he tried to tie up both hands, but Lomachenko was able to pull back one hand and tag off on him. There were times where he was pushing Devin Haney back into the ropes. So, you know, I really think that like Lomachenko proved to be a lot stronger. Well, I don't even think Lomachenko's stronger than he looks. I think Devin Haney's just weight drained for trying to make it into a division that he's obviously too big to be in, so that he can have a size advantage. And with that being said, I think that him moving up to 140, he's probably going to reach his ceiling at 140. Because guys like Regis Prograis, who also has a whole lot of boxing skill but has much more power than Devin Haney, have an opportunity to hurt him. Guys like Josh Taylor have an opportunity to hurt him. Guys like Teofimo Lopez, who, if Teofimo Lopez actually fights a smart fight, I think that he has a chance to really hurt Devin Haney. But honestly, I give Devin Haney the edge in that fight against Teofimo Lopez, because Teofimo Lopez, sometimes he comes in there and he fights off emotion, and he doesn't always have the best performances, because he's just, he's kind of like an airhead sometimes. He just comes in there and he tries to throw a bunch of power punches. He tries to do too much, just like he did with the George Kambosos fight. He gets frustrated. He fights off of emotion a lot, and oftentimes that seems to be his Achilles heel. I think we're going to see a lot of that when he actually ends up fighting Josh Taylor later on this year. So be a lookout on that with Teofimo Lopez. But when it comes to power, he has so much more power than Devin Haney, and he has a lot of power. At 140, he was able to knock out Pedro Campa, who wasn't able to be knocked out, and he just recently had I think Pedro Campa just recently had a fight. I don't remember exactly who it was, but in that fight, he showed that he had a pretty good chin. I mean, he was getting tagged, and the guy wasn't able to stop him. But when he fought against Teofimo Lopez, Teofimo Lopez was in there just tagging him up. But like I said, Teofimo Lopez, or even in that fight where he had against, I forget that guy's name he was fighting, but he was moving a lot around the ring, and he had issues with that. So I think that he would have a lot of trouble with Devin Haney, because Devin Haney would be able to tag him at will from distance. And if Teofimo Lopez is unable to make it in on the inside, which I think that he has a harder time doing that than Vasyl Lomachenko, and if he's unable to knock Devin Haney out, which Devin Haney did prove that he has a very good chin, because those same combinations that Lomachenko was hitting Devin Haney with in the 10th and 11th round, those are the same combinations that put down Jorge Linares. Those are the same combinations that put down Nakatani. Those are the same combinations that were really hurting Jermaine Ortiz. So honestly, sorry, my big 90s TV back here keeps going out. So honestly, you know what I'm saying? I really do think that Devin Haney is gonna have some issues, at 140, man, because skills do pay the bills, and I think that Devin Haney has the skills, just like Floyd later on in his career when he was at 147 and 154. Even though he wasn't the hardest puncher at those weight classes, he was still able to win and dominate fights using his skill. Sorry, it's the ice maker. But I think the difference between a Devin Haney and a Floyd Mayweather is that Floyd Mayweather actually had a lot of power. He actually had a lot of power at 135. He actually had a lot of power at 140. It wasn't until he started breaking his hands and he had to completely change his fighting style in order to adapt to those broken hands that he became more of a defensive fighter, and he became more of a counter puncher, and he wasn't so much concerned with knocking guys out. Also, Floyd Mayweather had a lot better defense than Devin Haney, and Floyd Mayweather had a lot better footwork. And even though Floyd Mayweather was not the biggest puncher in his later career, he still had enough power to really hurt you. His punches were so sharp, they were so accurate, and they did hurt people enough to deter them from coming in. But it doesn't seem like people are deterred at all from coming in versus Devin Haney. And I think that Shakur Stevenson is closer to Floyd Mayweather than Devin Haney is when it comes to later on Floyd. I don't think either of them are Pretty Boy Floyd, but when Shakur Stevenson gets into the ring and he starts tagging you with those shots, those are very sharp, hard shots that makes it so you don't want to come in. Oscar Valdez absolutely did not want to get hit with those shots. Robson Crocasio absolutely did not want to get hit with those shots, because those shots that Shakur Stevenson are hitting you with, those are very big, very powerful, very sharp shots. And that seems to be the difference between him and the Devin Haney. Shakur Stevenson has that that pop to it. I think you can, if you go back and look at the interviews of Andre Berto talking about the Floyd Mayweather fight, he's like, yeah, Floyd Mayweather is very crafty, and he doesn't have a lot of power in his punches, because that was later in his career where he really didn't have a lot of power. But he's like, his punches are so sharp and they hurt so much. Devin Haney, very good body puncher. Devin Haney he loads up on his shots. He's very quick. He's accurate with his shots, but they just don't seem to have like that pop that a Floyd Mayweather had to where it really deterred people from coming in. I think that a lot of fighters just really got stuck behind his jab because his jab is just so incredibly good. But I just don't think that, like, I really didn't see Loma being too worried about coming in versus Devin Haney versus how he was when he fought someone like Teofimo Lopez. So if Devin Haney is to lose, right, and then they set up a fight with Vasyl Lomachenko versus Shakur Stevenson, I do think that he's gonna have a harder time with Shakur Stevenson because he can't just take as many risks with Shakur Stevenson, because if he lets Shakur Stevenson beat up on him the same way that Devin Haney was beating up on him, it's going to be a harder day because Shakur Stevenson hits a lot harder than Devin Haney. Like I said, he's no Teofimo Lopez, but those punches are going to hurt way worse than the punches that Devin Haney was hitting him with. But, that's just how I feel about it, man. I had Devin Haney slightly winning the fight. I think some of those scorecards that they had were way off. I wouldn't be mad if Lomachenko won the fight. Watching the fight, my reaction, I thought that Lomachenko was going to win, was going to get the decision despite what my scorecard said. And that's all I gotta say. Now, I know that all the boxing people on Reddit, all the fans on Facebook, a lot of you Lomachenko fans are finna go off, because honestly, a lot, like, Lomachenko has 3 sets of fans, right? He has his obviously his Ukrainian fans. They're diehard. They love this man because he's Ukrainian. He has his hardcore boxing fans, which are people like me who just love to see him go in there just because he has like incredible skill. Like, he has incredible skill. He does have some flaws, that being his size, his reach, and as well as his inability to really stop punches from going to the body. But he's an incredible fighter, right? So he does have those flaws, but he has incredible skills. And I think the fact that he's able to go up to a weight class like 135 and then dominate and be incredibly competitive and arguably should be the undisputed champion, depending on how you look at the fight. I think that that's something crazy and great to see. So you have those fans, the Ukrainian fans, people like me who just really love boxing. They're just like boxing and nerds. And then you have like the openly racist fans who just really want him to win because he's white. And I understand that there are fans of Devin Haney who really want him to win because he's black. But unlike the Devin Haney fans, the Lomachenko unlike the Lomachenko fans, the Devin Haney fans don't feel like they've been robbed. So I bet you if you go on Twitter right now, you could probably find tons of like anti-black and racist stuff on there, essentially. But it's just one of those things. It is what it is. But like I said, I'm just looking forward to seeing what Devin Haney does next. I'm looking forward to seeing what Lomachenko does next. I think after that very close call, I don't think that Devin Haney wants that smoke with Shakur. Shakur was up there talking about he ran out of the ring. But I mean, it is what it is, man. Let's just look. But I'm just happy we got the fight. This was a better fight than the Ryan Garcia-Gervonta Davis fight because it was much more competitive, much more even. I thought that, boy, it was razor thin. I thought that both fighters did a great job. But that's all I got to say about that, man. It's been Josh from the Average Josh Podcast. This has been my big box TV, that I got from my wife's friend. You know what I'm saying? They didn't want it. They was going to throw it out. It's still good. You know what I'm saying? And that's all I gotta say about that, man. I'm out. You all have a blessed and wonderful day, and shout out to the Ukraine. Keep on keeping on, my guys.